Welcome, everyone. Today, we have an exciting discussion about how the partnership between SEED.Photo and the University of Wollongong is addressing one of the biggest gaps in Web3 education. We're honored to have Professor Brian Yecies, a leading thinker in digital innovation and research at UOW, joining us today. Professor, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. And on behalf of all of University of Wollongong and New South Wales, Australia, we say g'day.
Thank you. So, Professor Brian, in your experience, what are the biggest barriers to Web3 adoption and why is education so critical?
Fantastic question. We find that the barrier is a cultural one. There's three types of barriers. A cultural one is the first. Then there's a social barrier, which is more daily society infrastructure related, which then feeds into the third barrier, which is technological. So those are the three major barriers that we see from our preliminary research and our understanding of the environment. And it's also, these are challenges and barriers that are born out of being at the forefront of a huge paradigm shift that is across culture, across societies, and across technology.
Yeah, exactly. The current market is flooded with hype-driven content that doesn't offer real educational value. Artists, photographers, and content creators need a trusted, research-based approach. It's not just marketing buzzwords anymore. That's why SEED.Photo's collaboration with UOW combines real-world industry challenges with academic insights to create practical, hands-on education for the Web3 space, and I'm excited for that.
Sure, and I can tie it to education, which you just mentioned. It's the awareness part, which we are leaning into, fulfilling the awareness, the need for more awareness, and the need for more education, so that it can educate not only society and various communities within society. In my case, our case, we're focusing on visual artists and their communities and the copyright industries, but also how that education can inform policymakers and decision makers at that level, which is a whole other challenge and has its own particular barriers to uptake and understanding. So the fact that we're able to work together on this initiative shows a willingness to confront those barriers and the education required to overcome those barriers. But it's also an opportunity to reflect on how one might approach that task. It's a huge undertaking, but we're using our interdisciplinary expertise in engineering, psychology, sociology, cultural studies, business analytics, high frequency financial trading, and of course, creative industries to approach that educational, that call to action through education, which I think is the really exciting point about working together and where the Art3 Lab might be able to take us.
That being said, SEED.Photo as an industry leader in blockchain-powered digital ownership for photographers, while UOW is one of the world's leading research institutions. Professor, in your opinion, how do you see this collaboration shaping the future of Web3 education?
Again, a massive question, but a really good question. Look, our job as scholars, which is very different than industry, is to critique such developments and to interrogate them and to try and get a better understanding of what's happening. Also, try to pay attention to what's not happening. And that takes a fair amount of skill, which our team has, looking not only to investigate the obvious and the tangible, but to try and think about different alternatives, and also looking at long-term impacts. Impact, social, cultural, technological, industrial, economic, etc., take sometimes decades to appear. And so working with SEED.Photo on this initiative, and SEED.Photo's willingness to let us get close to the action, or where the action, if I may call it that, where it's occurring, is a rare opportunity to try and understand not only the promise, the promise of this technology, the promise of Web3, the promise of strengthening communities with the SEED.Photo platform and the IP, but understanding that process and understanding the impacts of that process, which are absolutely long term. And so we're very grateful for this opportunity to try and imagine the short, medium, and long-term impacts of what SEED.Photo is trying to do, and also what we're trying to do together, which leverages SEED.Photo's industry strengths and also your IP.
This collaboration obviously allows us to create really great structured, high quality educational content as well that addresses real world artists problems. So by combining academic research with industry insights, we're helping to close the knowledge gap that has kept many creators from benefiting fully from blockchain technology. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. And there's also an opportunity to unpack that. I think different age groups and different community members with different backgrounds are approaching the promise of blockchain in different ways. Some people, as you know, care a lot about the environmental impact. But when we start to talk about the benefits of ETH and the spirit and philosophy of Ethereum and how that was formed from the community for the community, and how Ethereum is likely to outlive a lot of other so-called competitors, it really opens up a lot of real pathways for understanding the wide-scale adoption of blockchain tools, environments. But as you know, the interoperability factor is really critical, and the uptake with everyday businesses to be able to use blockchain tools and applications at different points of purchase, in different, between different economic and commercial relationships, social relationships. A lot of people, I have one close colleague who has started a website reviewing virtual reality experiences, and it's just it's a passion project. They love what they write about. They love critiquing and investigating and unpacking the virtual reality experience and virtual reality technology, but they haven't figured out how to monetize that yet. And nor are they necessarily interested in monetizing. Whereas when I look at that opportunity, when I look at that website, I see the need instantly for a tip jar, for example. And rather than a full-on Patreon campaign that would require a lot of management, but a solution and a tool that would be on the blockchain, that could be peer-to-peer, supporter to artist, community to writer, an opportunity there to innovate a solution that I would call like an everyday usage of a blockchain tool and technology. So that's why we are, again, grateful and deeply appreciative of the opportunity to get close to SEED.Photo, to look at how SEED.Photo has catered to and really developed a customized tool and platform for photographer communities. And we're very interested to see how that might be leveraged and transformed, pivoted to develop and nurture a solution, a platform. You could even go as far as saying a way of life for visual artists. So that's really the exciting thing for us as scholars, as people experienced working with industry partners, and as representatives of the wider copyright industries, and content creators and policymakers.
Which takes us to the next question, actually. Many artists still don't see how blockchain technology applies to their daily work. Professor, in your opinion, how do you think blockchain will revolutionize creative industries?
I'm going to be provocative and put something out there that I think I have, as far as I know, I have not heard it from anybody else, but it seems reasonable. And let me just start off by saying I really appreciate how Finland has made access to internet and access to advanced technology a human right. I think the Finnish model, mind you, everyone would agree that it was probably driven heavily by the national telecom Nokia infrastructure and the pride and the nationalism, but a leader in setting that tone, that vision for internet access is a human right. And it's very interesting to bring that up in classes to our students because it's sort of mind-blowing. I would like to pitch something today where I think access to blockchain tools, applications, technologies as a way of life should be a sustainable development goal coming from the UN. So we would call it the 19th Sustainable Development Goal, which is pretty bold to say, but I think that underscores the community-driven philosophy of blockchain, or at least it celebrates it, challenges us to live up to, and we do need to live up to it, the call to action to make it community accessible, community beneficial. So 19th Sustainable Development Goal, blockchain for all. And again, it may be out there. Someone else may have said it. I have never read it before, but I think it's part of the wider blockchain of things movement and advancement that we're starting to see. If that's not cliche to call it that, BOT, blockchain of things. And this follows the 18th Sustainable Development Goal, which is space for all and positive space futures, which is something that people are trying to lobby. Right now, there's only 17 Sustainable Development Goals put out by the UN, and blockchain, perhaps blockchain could beat space and be the 18th, but I'm leaving room for the 18th, which is space for all, and the 19th is blockchain for all. That's quite a radical proposition, and it's certainly it's aspirational, but together, whether we've said it or not yet, our partnership with SEED.Photo, to me and to my team and to the people listening, I think this is a call to make blockchain for all. Mic drop.
That's so true. Right now, the big corporations kind of have a bit more control of everything right now, and the centralized platforms dictate the rules. They profit off the creators without giving proper credit or fair compensation. Web3 flips that script, but only for those who understand how to use it. And maybe by going with your method, that might give them the ability to be able to flip that script and be able to actually learn it properly and be under the proper situation.
And rather than it be a method, I think it's a vision. It's both a method and a vision. Blockchain for all. And SEED.Photo is actively at the forefront. And obviously you can quote me, but I really believe that SEED.Photo is at the forefront of making this happen, of feeling that, stepping up to address that call. And it's got to be community-based, community-inspired, community-driven, and community beneficial, which, as far as I could tell, that's exactly where we're heading together. But time will tell, and in terms of how it unfolds, how where the opportunities, the uptake opportunities occur, etc.
So right now, looking ahead, what's the ultimate goal of this partnership between SEED.Photo and UOW?
The ultimate goal of our partnership is to strengthen the vision of blockchain for all. That means trying to understand what the artist community, how they define the meaning behind blockchain for all, and how to reassure our partnership. Through our partnership, we need to figure out how to reassure people that blockchain for all is possible, how it's possible, when and where. The why part will be coming out through the education tools and contents that we're co-creating together. But at the end of the day, all we can do is put the vision out there and lean into it, and hopefully the visual arts community and others will notice it and understand it, and then choose to get involved. So that's the challenge I see for us and our partnership, is how to facilitate that, how to facilitate the awareness, how to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and the involvement by this community, and then how to facilitate blockchain for all, and how to define that, of course.
This is what excites us most, is you mentioned, you touched on it a bit, is making blockchain education accessible to all. We're going beyond just online courses. We're building a global initiative that connects artists, researchers, and industry professionals. This is just the beginning of a much larger movement.
Agreed. And again, it's a huge challenge, but at University of Wollongong, we take on a lot of these challenges from different perspectives, and having the interdisciplinary perspectives brought in to this project and this relationship can only be beneficial. So like I said, we've got the business analytics, we've got the sociologist angle, we've got the cultural studies, the creative industries angles. We've also got digital finance and decentralized finance angles, and engineering as well, computer science. So we've got sort of 6 different academic programs represented, disciplines represented. I think I've covered them all. We've also got strong Indigenous support. And when it comes to First Nations peoples, that's a very sensitive area and topic, but we're slowly creating a dialogue in that space in Australia by virtue of working with colleagues, Indigenous knowledge experts. So that's something that UOW excels in, and that's something that we bring to the table, and that's something also very exciting. Again, I think the longer we can spend time together, the more energy we can put in to the blockchain for all vision, the more educational materials, tangible, concrete materials we can create. And we are going to create, we are not going to, but we are creating now a lot of materials. It's happening now. And the next stage is to get input from community members and to see what their concerns are, their thoughts, their hopes, their dreams. But at the end of the day, we still have to create the vision and support a vision that other people can live up to or follow. So it's a nice mix. Through our partnership, we're developing a very lovely mix, the right mix of attitudes and agendas that are working together to advance blockchain for all agenda and vision.
Amazing, truly amazing. Professor, in your opinion, for artists, photographers, and creators in particular who want to future-proof their careers, what's the first step in your opinion?
Well, this is where I get out the crystal ball. We have a special crystal ball at UOW, and I'm joking, of course. We don't have a crystal ball, but that's a crystal ball question. What I could say is that Australian artists and maybe artists around the world, you spend years honing a craft. You spend years working in a particular method, particular style, aesthetic, and you have a philosophy underpinning that. Rather than future-proof one's career or work, we probably should call it life skills and how to generate interest among creative practitioners. Where do their interests lie? What kind of cross-fertilization between methods, communities, styles, stories can we help them think about? And storytelling is really important here, because rather than future-proofing one's style or careers, we should give people a voice. And I think we are. Our partnership, the UOW SEED.Photo partnership, aims to give people a voice about how they might future-proof their career. What do they consider that to be the solution for that, rather than us saying, here's the best way to do that? Because there will be people that disagree with blockchain for all as a potential tool and environment and advancement for so-called future-proofing their career. But rather, if they look at blockchain for all as a way of life, or as a new way of doing things, as a beneficial way of living, but also performing and creating their work, then maybe more people can opt in and benefit from opting in. So I used to talk about future-proofing. We certainly want to talk about future-proofing people's careers when we're talking to parents at school nights and school visits, when we give talks during discovery days or high school visits. So future-proofing is a really important concept, but I think we need to disrupt our own definition and our own attitudes about future-proofing. We have to disrupt our own thinking about it so that we can empower others to share their thinking about it. So at the end of the day, look, in conclusion, I think the best way to future-proof one's career and to help other artists and community members future-proof their careers and work is to get them just to think critically about how that might happen. They need to disrupt themselves. They need to disrupt themselves.
I agree. And just in closing, I want to say to everyone, join in the conversation, follow SEED.Photo and UOW's research initiatives, connect with the community, and start learning today. The digital world is evolving, and let's shape it together. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Professor Brian, I would like to thank you for your time. I would like to thank UOW yourself as well for the efforts you are investing to educate the community, to educate this younger generation towards a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for letting us get close to you so that we can better understand this process and have a voice in shaping it. So we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.